Flat data is beginner Python. Real systems, nested data. Today your code levels up. Nested dictionary means dictionaries inside dictionary. This is how apps, servers and tools actually store data. If data looks real, it's probably nested. So now let's see what is nested dictionary. So first we'll make a basic nested dictionary where we will call our nested dictionary users and then admin. Okay, yeah, like this. Then we'll create a dictionary inside the dictionary and now we'll call the data password and its key value will be the password whatever we want to use, and then single comma and then comes role, semicolon, colon and administrator, and that's it. Now we put a comma here and create another user like this, and same goes for this one. I'm just gonna copy the data and then gonna alter it. Okay, so it will be Alice @123 we can say, and she'll be user. So this is our nested dictionary and this is only a basic version of it. So each user here is a dictionary inside a dictionary. Now the question comes, how do we access the nested data? For example, how do we access this? Because this is a dictionary and this is a nested dictionary data. So how do we access the nested dictionary data? So for that we can use print and then the dictionary name, then goes our the nested dictionary name and the data we wanna call, and when you print it you will get administrator because we called for this one. So here we used the dictionary, then the nested dictionary name and the value of the nested dictionary name, step by step, key inside key. And you can face error if you enter a non-existing entry in here. It will say key error because root doesn't exist here, so it's giving us error, and nested errors are still errors. So how do you safely access? We can safely access it using the get method. So for that we'll use print and users.get. Now we say root. Again, it's a non-existing one, but it's safe to do so with the get method. And after this we use get and another get here and role comma no role. So what's happening here is we first try to get the root data, and if the data isn't existing it will say no role. So now if you run it, it will say no role here. So it's pretty very much user friendly. For example, if your user enters some wrong username or some wrong input, it will just simply say no role, and user will understand that the user they called isn't existing here. And no crash, clean fallback. So now let's talk about the loop through nested dictionary. So for that we can use a for loop obviously, and for loop user info will be the variable we are using, and we'll run for loop in users.items to call every item, and then print user and then comes arrow comma info role. So now what we are doing here is, first we are looking at the user, then we are looking at the role. So now what will happen is admin admin will come here and role will be administrator, and Alice the arrow sign and then user. So now if you run it, as I explained, it worked like that only, because what we did here is we first of all ran a for loop program and then we printed only user, which was this one, and then the role, which was this line only. Okay, so now let's move on to the next thing. Now we will create some log data and then we will detect suspicious activity in it. So for that, first let's comment this code out, or you can remove it if you wanna, and then we'll create a variable called variable called logs, and then we'll create a nested dictionary using that only. And now comes our IP, and then comes the nested dictionary part. So here comes the failed attempts, and :3, comma, I keep forgetting these double quotes, and then success 1, and end of the dictionary, nested dictionary, sorry. And then we are just gonna duplicate this because we are like going to do some very minor changes in this one, and failed 0 and success 5 in this one. So we just created a nested dictionary. So what's happening here is IP, we first have IP and then it directs to the activity and its activity counts. For example, this IP failed 3 times doing like XYZ thing. Maybe it can be your login, trying to log in something, some services or some admin pages or like that, or anything you can like assume. And after that, let's just remove this space here. After that, we will be running a for loop. Let's say for IP, why IP? Because we are using IP here. So, and then for IP activity in logs.items. Okay. So now what's here happening here is we are running a for loop in the nested dictionary. Okay. After that, if activity, we are creating a now it's good. Yeah. So now what we are creating doing here is we are creating a conditional statement. If the IP failed more than 2 times, we should get an alert in this case, and we'll say alert here, and then IP. And now if you run it, okay, so I made some mistake, I think. Okay, first of all I use these as 2. Okay, so now what I did wrong was I used the square brackets multiple times. So now if you run it, it will run, and we got 192.168.1.10. Why? Because it failed 3 times and the condition got true here, so it printed this IP only. So you can use this or like make this script even better for log analysis and stuff like log analysis. And this logic exists in real monitoring tools if it is written in Python. Like some tools, like not every tool is written in Python. So if it is written in Python, it is using some logic like this or exactly this logic. Okay, so now let's look at adding data dynamically. So we are going to add data in the logs nested dictionary only. So for that, we'll say logs, and we'll create another IP, another new IP that will be our 30, and failed 1 and success 0. Sorry, in 0. Now why we did this here is, okay, we are getting some error here. And why are we getting error? Okay, first of all, I did this thing wrong too. Yeah, now it's good to go. So what we did here is we just added a new log entry into the nested dictionary. Because system grows, your data structure must handle it. Okay, so now if we try to run it and we just remove this line and even this. It is printing all the IPs. And if we try to print activity 2, okay, now we can try to print activity 2 and you can see the logs here. Okay, so now let's talk about some common beginner mistakes. Forgetting inner keys. Sometimes some developers forget to add these, or for example, like I did a while ago, some people add the keys like this, because sometimes nested dictionary can get a bit confusing, especially when you are just like new to it and accessing without checks. Sometimes we forgot to check like what variables we are trying to access, and over nesting unnecessarily is the last common beginner mistake. And always remember, nested not equals to complicated if you think clearly. Now you understand how real data is organized, from simple scripts to real system. Flat code is easy, structured code is powerful. And that's it for this video. See you again in the next video.